Joe. Thank you, Andre. And you know, a lot of people have, you know, bridges, buildings, streets named after themselves. It's what Michael and I have named after us, and I think that's really remarkable. It's a wonderful gift. I thank you forever. Because again, bridges crumble, streets get paved, and the names get changed, but there'll always be my partner, Michael. Thank you, Andre. That was it was something that we cherish, and I will continue to cherish the rest of my life. As probably surmised from this, Michael was able to talk to a lot of different people and really had a way of communicating and reaching out. And one of the things that I'm most grateful about is that I had very little musical training. I just, listen to music and I know what I like. And Michael brought, music and musicians into my life, and I'm really grateful for that as well. I mean, I'll mention a few names because they're here, and certainly he had a way of communicating with them that I appreciated. Aaron, and of course Andre and Debbie and Sheila and Kiko and some of the others out here who are, I see you crying over there, I'm sorry. Sharda, people that he could talk to musically. It's something that I couldn't do. And I learned a little bit from him. I remember that I would be sitting in concerts and performances with him, and the next verse would start, and I would sort of glower over and lean over to Michael and say, "You should have modulated." It's I did pick up a little bit, but certainly I really I speak English and French, and Michael spoke English, Yiddish, music, and love. And he was really such a talented person that way. I'm going to tell you. I already mentioned how we met. 30 years from today, he rented the apartment down the hall from me, and they came to install his phone. And after they left, the phone didn't work properly, so he knocked on my door and asked if he could come and use my phone to call in the repair. And we got to talking, and it was one of these things that I clicked and bonded with him right away. But it wasn't. We didn't start a relationship right away on that level. We were, he was the guy down the hall, and I was friendly with him, but I liked him right off the bat. And one of the things I remember saying to him the first day, and that he quoted back to me about a week later, is that I said to him the first day, "Michael, to me you make a lot of sense." And he always did. He was someone who was a very sensible person, who when he talked to me about things or explained things to me, I would understand exactly the way he was thinking, and he seemed to understand how I was thinking. But that was one of his gifts. If he met people, within minutes, he understood how they perceived the world, and he could talk to them on a very one-on-one level, eye to eye. And as I said, I talked a lot with Michael over these 30 years. I mean, we worked out of the house for years and years on end. This technology nest that Andre talked about. I mean, I built that for Michael because that was his way to reach the world. I mean, it was harder and harder for him to get outside, and being able to communicate through the internet and through chat groups and things like that. He had a constant source of friends and relationships. Something that boggles my mind to this day, because I still receive emails just recently as 2 days ago from someone who just picked up the fact that Michael had died recently and read the information I wrote about him, and they would write back things to me like, "I never knew Michael was sick. He used to, when my husband died, he helped me through that very difficult period. He was so supportive and so understanding, and I was able to lean on him, and we remained friends after that. And he never talked about his own suffering, his own pain." And I think that's the way Michael was. Is he didn't want to be the sick guy in the room. I mean, it was obvious enough when you met him that he had physical problems, and they really hampered his life. I mean, when I met him, he was at a point in his life which, as Scott referenced, he had happened to him a lot of times, is that he would build something up and get something started, and then illness would strike, and he'd wind up in the hospital, and of course during that period he'd lose the job or lose the connection. And this is why he gave up singing, because he he said that one of the things about performing is, the show must go on. You have to be there. You have to be reliable. And increasingly he felt that he could not make commitments and make any expectation that he would be able to be there. And so he moved away from it. And I think it was a great loss to him because he loved being on stage, he loved the attention, he loved people, listening to him, and he really knew how to reach a room and talk to people. And again, most of his singing was done in the Catskill clubs. And if you've ever been to one of the Catskill hotels, the performance is part of your price of admission. And so the audience is a pretty tough crowd. They didn't choose to see you. They've already paid for you, and they would come in and sit down and say, now, entertain me, make this good. And he did. He won them over night after night, I'm sure. I mean, obviously he had his tough crowds too, and he did talk about that from time to time when I asked him about working on stage. But by and large, one of the things that he used to joke about was, of the two of us, he was the better dancer. Even towards the end, I'm no dancer, but he never said that he had dancing skills. And used to be very impressed after shows. People would come up to him and say, you have a wonderful voice, and you're such a marvelous dancer too. All I did was step this way, step that way, and move the mic, and but just the timing and the way he did it, he knew how to put this over, and that was one of Michael's greatest skills, was to connect with people, get your attention, hold it, and to be entertaining. The story that Andre told is also one of my favorite anecdotes, that Debbie had been saying to us that she wanted us to meet Andre. And sure, bring him up anytime. We're home. We'll just come on in. And as it turned out, they chose to come up and visit us in August. It was a very, very hot August day. And they lived down in Point St. Charles, and at that point we were living beyond the plateau up on Saint Andre near the Beauvais metro station. And they climbed on their bicycles, and they bicycled up that hill all the way to our place and arrived soaking wet. And I could just hear Andre, because I know Andre now, grousing all the way. I'm like, it's a hot day and all that. Anyway, they came in and sat and spent the evening, and we all had a wonderful time, and I'm pretty sure all the way down the hill, in fact I did hear about this, that Andre was saying to Debbie, why are you hiding these people from me all this time? Why didn't you tell me what great people they were? So that was the thing that Michael did, is he made knowing him interesting. He just reached out and he listened to you, and he understood you, and he cared about you, and he was very sincere.